But I explained that the recent run of crystal clear blue skies we've been having have really but
Cardinal Fang, fetch the comfy chair.
Yes, that's right. Pull up your comfy chair, grab a coffee, sit down and watch.
During the meanwhilest... No.
Well, hello, it's Dexter, the delinquent dog, and me again. And welcome to another episode of Tech Tuesday. Anyway, today's Tech Tuesday is covering software. So it's really techy this week. And in particular, I'm going to be looking at focus stacking software. Now, if you saw my video on Saturday, that's just gone out, great. If you haven't, I'll link to it above somewhere in the ether. But in that video, I explained that the recent run of crystal clear blue skies we've been experiencing have really thwarted any opportunities for, interesting landscape photography with no clouds, no light. So what I've done instead is taken to doing some macro photography, and in particular, I thought I would do some multi-shot shots of some plants in my garden and various other stuff as well, and try out focus stacking. Now, I do focus stack images very rarely if I'm out in the field doing my landscape work and I've got a really prominent piece of foreground and then obviously leading off into the midground and background. I sometimes shoot two and sometimes three images focused on the foreground and the background, and sometimes on the midground too. But I don't do it very often because I found that really I get pleasing enough results shooting at f/16 on my GF 23mm lens. But sometimes I do employ focus stacking techniques. But as I said, it's only two, maximum three images or frames. So I've done that on Photoshop with some good results. But when I was out in the garden over the last few days, I was shooting 6, 7, sometimes 10 shot or 10 frame images. Now stacking them in Photoshop and then looking at the final result, I was kind of like hit and miss with the results. Like there were some areas that hadn't blended properly. They didn't look quite right, out the focus areas in the image. And when you're dealing with multi-shot compositions, trying to find which layer mask to use then to paint over that over that sort of error is quite difficult to do. So what I thought I would do is look at getting a specialist piece of focus stacking software. Had a look on what's that thing called again? The internet, that's right, and stumbled across a piece of software called Helicon Focus. Now there are others I would imagine available, but this is the first one that I looked at, the first one I downloaded a trial version of, and it seems to be really easy and it yields good results. Now some macro photographers that I've looked at, they will shoot hundreds, sometimes like 1,000 images and focus stack those. So you're looking at shot, micrometer adjustment, shoot again, and on my my Fujifilm cameras you can employ in-camera focus bracketing, so it takes all that effort away really. So you're on autofocus and you set a number of stages or whatever, and then it shoots the the whole subject for you, but it doesn't blend them in camera. All it gives you is these focus bracketed images, so you have to blend them outside of Fujifilm anyway. Now, as I said, in the past I've used Adobe Photoshop, and with mixed results, and there are any number of videos on the internet about focus blending with Adobe Photoshop, but I won't go into that now. You can find any number of, as I said, any number of videos on the net covering that. But I found that using Helicon focus, I am getting better results. It's also a little bit easier to use. You don't need to go through the auto align image step that you have to with Photoshop, so that step is taken away. But if you are shooting with raw files, then you will need to download and install Adobe's DNG converter for the software to work at its best. And then it's just a case of loading the images into Helicon software, and then pressing render and watching the image build in front of you. You know, the more frames you shoot, the longer it takes to build, and you get like an animated or an animation of the render in real time, which is really quite interesting to watch, I found. So what I'll do now is I'll stick up a couple of images, one using Adobe Photoshop and one using Helicon focus. Now, it's quite hard to tell them apart with the images that I'm using here. But trust me, I have found Helicon focus to be a little bit more accurate than Adobe Photoshop, and as I said, it's a joy to use. It's much easier to use, and it's actually quite good fun to use at the same time. Anyway, that's it for this very short Tech Tuesday. Do you employ any focus stacking or focus blending techniques yourself in your image making? I'd be interested to know, and let me know in the comments below if you do. And if you do you use Adobe's Photoshop to blend them? Or do you use a specialist piece of software like Helicon Focus or something else? Or, if you're really lucky, does your camera render the image for you in camera by itself, with no work for you to do at all? I'd be really interested to know, as usual, because I'm a nosy Parker. Anyway, that's it for this Tech Tuesday from Dexter and me. Stay safe, stay well, look after yourselves, and be nice. Just be nice. Yeah. Okay, see you on Saturday. Bye-bye.
They say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name, but they ain't got what's running through these veins. Say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name, but they ain't got what's running through these veins. Make way for the king. For the kingdom, king me, checkmate then repeat. This chess not checkers, what can I say? I got goat genes. Real kings do king things. Live like one, breathe like one, killing shit by any means. Everybody can't lead like one, nah. Is it really me? Gotta check and see my legacy like royalty, and I act like it. If you know, better act like it. Look at me now, they can't hold me down, so give me the crown. They say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the